We definitely want to be excellent stewards of this island. We take the environment here in Catalina very, very seriously.
There's a lot of weight on everybody's shoulders that is involved with Catalina. This is an ecological treasure.
We created the Avalon 2020 vision. Part of that vision is that the city of Avalon will be a model ecological town.
Anything that would facilitate greater and greener environmental awareness is very, very welcome.
The island's only real economy is tourism. Everything revolves around tourism.
It's a wonderful place to raise a family. It's a great place to relax, a great place for romance. Kind of has everything that anybody is looking for in a half-mile diameter town.
There are definitely challenges associated with doing business on an island. Everything needs to be brought over here. All our businesses, restaurants and hotels in particular, all their supplies come from the mainland by either barge or air freight.
Good morning. We're outbound on the main channel with a freight barge. We'll be southbound for Catalina.
It seemed to me that it would be a simple model to use an island like this to kind of demonstrate to the world that managing your resources and managing the environment at the same time, there's a certain level of equilibrium there that we can achieve.
One of our key challenges is what do you do with all the trash?
Eight years ago, we started our visioning process, and in that process, one of the highlights and topics that we wanted to focus on was sustainability. And in doing so, the city and the residents as a community really needed a strong, stable partner in that environment. About a year ago or so, we went out to bid for the handling of our solid waste management contract. And in that process, we chose CR&R as our partner to lead us into the future, not only in the way things were being currently managed and orchestrated as a disposal company, but also seeing into the future how we could turn some of those resources into alternative fuels and some other things that we as a community do not have that expertise.
We were notified by the city manager from the city of Avalon, and they were out looking for prospective companies that would have an interest in providing service to the city of Avalon for their refuse and recycling needs, operation of the landfill, and operation of their material recovery facility.
This particular RFP, request for proposals, was unique in that it was everything involved: collection, processing at a city-owned facility, and landfilling at a city-owned facility.
We felt that the company was a really good fit for Avalon, being a tight-knit community out there on an island. Everyone knows one another. They want to be able to walk right up to the people that they deal with and be able to ask questions, and we found that a very comfortable fit.
Because of people's livelihoods tied to the environment in many cases, it's absolutely essential that whatever comes to this island would be an excellent fit, or beyond excellent, a great fit.
It took a lot of time, a lot of effort. We look at different ways of doing things.
One of the things that we have been able to do over our history in the company is provide options for cities that are maybe outside of what they requested in the formal RFP document, and give them some options that maybe fit their service levels better.
The previous vendor had been there for almost 30 years. Most all of our new contracts are alternative fuel vehicles, that being compressed natural gas or CNG. Compressed natural gas or CNG was not available on the island, so we innovatively came up with the idea, let's make our trucks propane powered. And propane is readily available on the island, right at the Edison plant. And so we are powering all of our vehicles that we use, all of the collection vehicles, with propane.
Much quieter, much cleaner burning, and much better for the environment in Avalon. But what's unique about that truck is it didn't exist. So ultimately what we ended up having to do was buy a truck with a gas engine and have it converted to propane. What's unique about our equipment is you buy a chassis from a dealership like a Ford or a Chevy, but the back half of the truck, which is the collection piece of it, is It's another manufacturer, so there's another component in putting the truck together. So not only did we have to source the actual chassis, we had to source the bodies that went on the back of them. The equipment looks great. It's brand new, hot off the shelf. Our personnel really went out and researched what's going to be the best fit for this island. The city of Avalon is probably one of our toughest service areas. Very small streets, very congested. The alleys are extremely tight, so the equipment really had to be scaled down to the size of the island. The thing that took probably the most time was actually sourcing somebody to convert the truck to propane and ultimately getting that done in advance of the truck being delivered to the barge company to ultimately be shipped to the island.
Barging the equipment out was a very well-developed plan on the behalf of operations here at CR&R, and they just maximized with all of their resources that barge space. They got everything over on time.
We're faced with a transition that's very different than any other transition we've done. We have 26 miles of water between us and where the equipment's actually going to be staged and go to work. There is a company, the Catalina Freight Company, that ships to the island pretty much on a daily basis. We immediately got in contact with them to understand how their process works, and again, our team did a tremendous job researching every square inch of that barge and actually created a diagram of the barge and took our equipment and assembled it so they could actually stage well in advance of anything getting to the barge on where each piece was going to sit. Because the difference in that is being able to ship everything over on 2 barges versus potentially 3 barges. We also looked at each one of the containers and identified the square footage of those and maximized that by placing computer equipment and maintenance equipment. Again, it was a tremendous job by our team to sit down and really make sure on day one we rolled with everything to meet the city's expectations.
Developing outreach material for Catalina Island was actually a very good pairing for us because they're very concerned with the environment. We had to explain what our recycling enhancements were, the programs. We've got some great outreach material, just really explaining the whole concept and what our programs are and what we're trying to achieve. The initial feedback was wonderful.
We found that there's other opportunities for CR&R in Avalon and on the island.
Ultimately, part of the Avalon 2020 vision is that we become self-sustainable without the use of fossil fuels.
We offered what we call an anaerobic digestion system. We will take their organic waste and potentially make a gas that could help create electricity or fuel the golf carts on the islands.
The anaerobic digestion plant is a fully self-contained unit, which is about the size of a semi-trailer truck, and it'll sit right on the material recovery facility site next to the building and produce energy from the use of organics.
We fortunately have control of all of those resources here on this island, and we intend to be a model for the rest of the world. See, this is how it can be done.
CR&R seems to have the type of mentality that we're looking for here on Catalina, looking at innovative ways to be not just sustainable, but to look outside the box and make it a fun, exciting, interesting place for people to come study the environment, study what mankind can do to just make this a better place for future generations.
As part of our proposal, we suggested, and the city accepted, to supply the city material recovery facility with a new baler that would be about the same size bale, but have double the density. That will double the life of the Avalon landfill going forward.
This community, the city of Avalon, will be a model ecological town, a model that other communities would like to emulate.
We're very much tied to the wind, the waves, and the earth, and we'd like to see it stay as beautiful as it is now for many generations to come.
And we're known, of course, there as Avalon Environmental Services, which is a local name. The owner said, you know, they've got such pride in their community. We're going to change the company name to Avalon Environmental Services.
Southern California Edison provides our water, gas, and electricity. CR&R is providing us with waste management. And that's a huge deal for us. So thank you, CR&R, for what you're doing to help keep Catalina clean.
We've embraced our partnership with CR&R as the future steward of handling waste management on the island. and we look forward to working with them certainly into the next couple of decades.
The city has an opportunity with us to see a company come in, take hold of the environment, improve the environment that we operate in, and ultimately leave the island in better condition than we found it.